Welcome to The Stage Whisperer, the podcast for experts who want to be standout speakers. I'm your host, Aurora Gregory, and I'm here to help you unlock the secrets of powerful speaker branding. Here you'll get take-action tips to elevate your speaker game, along with insights from top speakers, event planners, and other experts, so you can make speaking the effective tool it needs to be in your business. Ready to make your mark on stage? Let's dive in. One of the questions that I get asked pretty regularly is about presentation slides. And most speakers these days are using some form of a slide deck, created in any number of formats. Lots of people are using Canva these days, but PowerPoint is still really popular, especially for corporate speakers. But I get a lot of questions about how do you make a great slide deck for your presentation? So I wanted to talk a little bit today about how you can do that. What should go on slides, what shouldn't go on slides, which I think is almost an even bigger question and discussion. So let's talk a little bit about what your slides are there to do. Your slides are there to help guide your audience on the journey and transformation that you're taking them on. Your slides are not there to be a huge crutch for you. They're not your script. They should be prompts for you that guide you from one point to another. But your script, the things, the actual words that you're going to say should not be what goes on your slides. I used to tell some of my corporate clients that your PowerPoint slides are not one big giant Word document. If you're using Google Slides, it just means that Google Slides is not a giant Google Doc. You want to be able to use your slides to help your audience understand where it is that they're going in the presentation, where you're going, where you're taking them. So it's important to have the right content on the slides. The first thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to stuff your slides with so much copy that it forces your audience to stop listening to you and start reading the slides to figure out, is what's on the slides something important that I need to pay attention to? Do I need to be focused on that? Or do I need to stay and pay attention to the speaker? You want to put on your slides, this is my personal rule of thumb. What I put on the slides is what I want the audience to write down. As I think about my audience and them taking notes, whether they're taking notes on their phone, whether they're taking actual notes with a pen and paper, what I put on the slides is what I want them to write down. It's the key point, the most important part of that section of my presentation. I don't want to overburden the slides with so much copy that they have to figure out what is the most important part? What should I be remembering? What should I be taking a note on? Now, they're obviously going to take notes on things that strike them because they'll be listening to you. And that's what you want. You want your audience to be listening to your voice, to paying attention to how you engage them in the message that you have to deliver. Remember, your time on the stage is your opportunity to connect with the audience. That's what you want. You don't want them connecting with your slides. You want them connecting with you. So if there's too much copy on the slides, you're not able to accomplish that goal. So as you go through and you're creating your slides, think about what is it that I want them to write down or remember. And that's the piece of copy that you want to put down. Now, there's lots of other ways to communicate what it is that you want them to remember. I know a number of speakers that don't put copy on their slides at all. They use imagery, different photographs or graphics or even numbers to reinforce those key points. You can use whatever makes the most sense to you. But the thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to stuff your slides with so much copy that all your audience ends up doing is paying attention to the words on the screen, and then they're not paying attention to you. Let me guess something. You've built a solid business. You've got the receipts. But when it comes to getting on stages, the right stages, it feels like everyone else is getting the spotlight. If that sounds familiar, I want to personally invite you to my free masterclass, Why Even the Most Qualified Experts Get Passed Over for Stages. I'll walk you through the speaker brand blueprint I use with clients inside the Speaker Brand Academy. It's helped them land paid keynotes, podcast features, and dream event invitations. And yes, it can work for you too. You'll learn how to stand out to event planners without cold pitching 100 events, or hiring a fancy agent. Head over to speakerbrandacademy.com/masterclass and save your seat now. All right, back to today's episode. You also want to make sure that your slides are not overly designed. There's some wonderful tools out there. I'm a big fan of Canva. I also have some designers that I work with sometimes when I have a presentation that I want to have a little bit of an extra flair that's important to me, and I'll have them design them. But my counsel and my guidance is always to make sure that the slides don't have too much going on, that they're not too busy. I love copy with images. I think that's terrific. Copy with graphics is also great. Even cartoons. I know one speaker that I worked with recently, she uses a video in one part of her presentation, which I think is also terrific. But the one thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to stuff your slides with too much copy, because the transformation that you're wanting to share with your audience will just get lost, and you lose the opportunity to relationship build with the people that are in the room from the stage. The other thing that you want to make sure that you're doing is that the presentation of your slides, however you're composing them, make sure that everything is consistent. Make sure that your fonts are consistent. Make sure that the types of bullets that you're using, if you're using traditional little round black bullets, that those are all the same size. If you're using different shapes, if you're using arrows, whatever it is that you're using, make sure everything is consistent. Make sure the fonts are consistent. Make sure that your fonts are big enough. Nothing should be smaller than 25, 26, 28 point. It should start there. If your fonts are falling below that, and certainly if they're falling into the teens, your fonts are too small. And again, what happens when your font is too small is that it's distracting to your audience. They are now having to struggle to read what is on the slide. And when they can't because it's too small, it just makes them focus on that and not on the message that you're trying to deliver. So composing and creating a great slide deck is a great tool for you to reinforce those key points with your audience, but it shouldn't distract. And as far as what the deck does for you is it helps you keep track of where you're going in your presentation. There's plenty of space in the speaker or the notes section of any presentation deck tool that you're using. There's a notes section. And if you need notes in that section, put all of your copy, all of the things that you're worried you're going to forget about, put it in there, but don't put it on your slide. That's not where it belongs. And then work with your slides, become familiar with them so that you're not surprised about what slide pops up next as you're moving through your presentation. If you're creating signature talks and you've got 2 or 3 talks that you give pretty regularly, what will happen is that you'll become very familiar with that presentation and you'll get very familiar with the slides, what slides pop up where. You'll be able to manage your time really so that you never are falling under or going over time in your presentation. And you want to rehearse with your slides so that you get comfortable using them. Remember that your slides should trigger you in the content that you're delivering. This is material that you know really well. You are an expert. I know that's true. You know what you're talking about, and you know this particular topic that you're presenting. You know it well. So you don't need the crutch of too much copy on the slides. You just need to get comfortable with it. Practice and have confidence that you will be able to deliver a really effective presentation. And I promise you, over time, your delivery will get better and better, and your audience will engage with you more and more. I'd love to hear about your questions, things that you are curious about when it comes to creating presentations. If you've got questions about creating presentation slides, I'd love to hear them. So drop me a line. I'll leave an email address in the show notes. I'd love to hear what your questions are, and maybe I can answer them in a future episode. And that'll do it for today's episode of The Stage Whisperer. Remember, every stage you step onto is an opportunity to impact lives and leave a lasting impression. Keep refining your craft and pushing the boundaries of what you can achieve with your voice. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast, leave a review, and share this episode with fellow speakers. Visit our website for more resources and follow us on social media to stay connected. I'm Aurora Gregory, and until next time, keep making your voice heard.